watching Two Button Crew.
Your daily Nintendosa fandom.
I'm Scott.
And I'm Simeon. Nope, I'm Ryan.
You are the Simeon fill-in, but you're more than that.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Simeon's on vacation, so we're happy to come here from the couch, a brand new TBC set. This is not Cledbert. This is a different couch. And
Mean Green.
Yeah. And we're hot off of E3 hype. Mm-hmm. So we're going to launch right into some discussion on Legend of Zelda Breath of the Winds.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild. Yep.
Breath.
It's all right. We just got all this news.
Yeah.
So
Breath makes me think of air.
Yeah.
Breath of the Winds. I really like the name Breath of the Wild, and when I first read it today, because I was at work and unable to watch immediately, I had to try it out. It made me smile. I think it's a really cool name.
Yep. I think it's like, it seems way different than all of their other Zelda titles.
Yeah.
Which this Zelda title is way different than all of their other titles, so it really works for the game.
Right. Most other Zelda titles have been named after a key character, like the Twilight Princess, or just an object.
Mm-hmm.
Ocarina of Time, Skyward Sword, that kind of thing. So they've named this game kind of after the world, and there have been some statements like the world is the main character in this game and stuff like that, which is pretty exciting. One of the first things I noticed is that the gameplay of this new Zelda game reminds me a lot of Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Just a lot of exploration and survival and equipping yourself, eating, clothing yourself differently. And I think it'll be kind of like Monster Hunter without the huge learning curve. You ever tried to get into a Monster Hunter game?
I played it a little bit, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It was a little too much for me, but I think that they'll do a good job making this game more accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess first of all, what did you think of that trailer?
I thought it was a good trailer. It seemed like it showed off a decent amount of different parts of the game without spoiling anything.
Yeah. And that voice opened it up with Open Your Eyes.
Oh, yeah.
I was expecting just full voice acting to continue throughout the trailer, but that's really the only thing we've heard from the whole first day of E3. So I think that there won't be much voice acting. Maybe it'll kind of...
Nope, they said there's actually going to be quite a bit, but Link is still not going to be voiced.
Really?
Yep.
But the old man didn't speak. The old man from The Legend of Zelda.
Right.
The original. There's no female Link. Do you want to know when I knew that there would be no female Link?
When's that?
When it was said that you could undress your character.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, there's no way.
There's no way. No.
They're just going to do the Shulk boxer shorts thing.
Yep, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the trailer he jumps in the lake swimming, and I'm pretty sure he's just in the boxers.
Right. And that's also how he woke up, too. And I was like, there's no way Nintendo's going to have those headlines. Nintendo
not localize it over here.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So they seem to be moving away from dungeons, and that is really my favorite part of Zelda. Now it is, in this game, 100 shrines, like mini dungeons.
Okay.
And I haven't been able to watch all of the shrine gameplay, but I've read that people so far are pretty enthusiastic about it. And the comments from the developer, from the producer Aonuma, he says that there's a lot of different ways to solve the puzzles in the shrines. So I'm interested to see how those turn out. I think that although the shrine will still have one entrance just like a dungeon does, once you get in there, you know, because this game is so choice driven, you could have any number of weapons on you, and it'll be interesting to see how they make those puzzles still compelling when they're able to be solved in so many different ways.
Right.
I hope it's not too Scribblenauts-y. Scribblenauts-ish, I guess.
Where you look around and you're like, oh, I could use the hook shot there, or I could use the bow here, or I could,
Yeah. So we'll see. But also, even though you can kind of choose your order from how you want to go through the shrines, I'm guessing that some you'll have to turn back from and say, it looks like I'm going to need to come back here later.
Right. They might have a spot where you like mark it on your map, like, oh, here's a shrine, I can't do it now, so I'll come back to the spot later.
Yeah, I think marking your map will be big. That's a good point. Yeah, I don't think you'll be able to just wake up in the world and beat all 100 shrines in whichever order you want.
I'm not going to collect anything. I'm just going to... Yeah. I saw that you can grab the lid of a pot and use it as a shield now.
Yes.
So that's great.
I'm glad that the game isn't too like hyper realistic. You know, you can just take an axe to a log and then all of a sudden you've got a bundle of firewood. You know, you're not spending too much time there. It's also not like you can only carry one weapon for each hand. You know, you can have infinite space.
Right.
So that's cool. The fact that you're kind of dropped into this game with no backstory, you just kind of discover at your own pace. At first I was a little disappointed by that because I enjoy story too, but I think that they are mainly wanting to avoid kind of the slow open that Twilight Princess was criticized for. And probably some of those sentiments have resurfaced since the HD release came out. So that I think that the statements about the beginning of this game were just kind of meant to say you can get right into the action.
Yeah.
And then also like past games in this series, you learn more about the conflict and the characters involved as you go, and then it always leads up to a big climax. So
before too, the story has been so straightforward, and this way you can kind of learn the story through people in the world. So one person might have one opinion about something and someone else might have another, so you're not going to know everything until you actually get to your final destination.
Yeah.
They could definitely use some twists and turns, which normally the Zelda series doesn't really have too many of.
Right. So at E3 they demoed the Great Plains or something? Great Plateau.
Plateau, yep.
And it's said to be 1% of the final map. So this game is going to be enormous. And Aonuma also went on record saying he used to think getting lost in a game wasn't fun, but he ended up having fun with it this time. So I'm willing to give that a try. I know that in the past I don't enjoy the feeling of being lost in a game. But I know, like, I think this is what a lot of people like about Minecraft, is like you just go and do your thing until night falls, and then you shift to survival just based on the resources you have. You know, make yourself a camp and try to defend it. So I think that'll be cool.
Yeah, the main thing about a big open world like that is it's not a problem if you get lost, as long as everything is like populated appropriately. If there's things to do even when you get lost, you won't notice it. But if you just get lost and there's just nothing and you're like, well, I don't know where I am and I don't know what to do and I'm just stuck here, then it's an issue.
You like the art style?
I do. I really like the art style. It seems like a more intensified version of Skyward Sword almost.
Yep.
I saw that they were trying to make it more like Japanese animation, and that's definitely the vibe I got off of it.
Yeah. It had a really good draw distance too. No matter how big things were, they weren't popping up close to you and stuff. How about overall, like, do you think today that this exceeded your expectations for the next Zelda game?
It is better than I thought it would be, or when they originally said that E3 is pretty much going to be all about Zelda. I really didn't have that high of expectations anymore, so this is definitely got me really excited for Zelda.
Yeah.
And they said too that the music for this one, it's going to be more like sound effect oriented. So what that gets me thinking of is Metroid Prime, because that's what they said, it was more like world oriented than just like a musical score, which I love the music in atmosphere of Metroid Prime. So if they bring something like that but more Zelda oriented than spacey, that'd be really cool.
That's a great point. And they did insert like some minimal piano riffs, kind of like for the cinematic moments, like pulling back and showing Link's view over the cliff and stuff, and that sounded really beautiful. So
that's the other thing they said, is it's going to be very atmospheric and piano heavy this time around.
That's awesome. Hopefully there won't be a magical piano that you get and carry around and pull out.
Time will tell. Link with a guitar, he's just going to...
that would be more compact. So we'll talk a little bit more about some stuff with Zelda, like the amiibo that were announced later this week. That's all for our initial reactions to E3. I'm glad that Nintendo kind of came back and they still won in a way. You know, they lowered our expectations appropriately and then delivered amazingly on Breath of the Wild. Can't believe I said winds.
Yeah, well, you already had Wind Waker. They can't.
Right.
I mean, so you can get that kind of mixed up. I can see that.
Yeah. Thank you for being understanding. And thank you for being here.
No problem.
And thank you for being a part of the crew.
Be sure to comment what you thought of this E3 down below and what you think of the brand new Zelda title.
And we'll see you next time.
Signing out.